Keek on the mic, keek on the mic, keek on the mic, keek on the mic. People, this the intro. Sacramento, California, born and raised. In Antelope is where I spend most of my days. Talk bad about my team, you must be a clown. This is Keek on the mic, so you know you better bear down. Bear down.
Hey, what's going on, Bears fans? Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Keek on the Mic, the podcast all about the Chicago Bears. Like always, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the bell notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. Make sure you also stay connected by following me on all my social media platforms to catch up on all the Keek on the Mic news. We are back for a Christmas Eve edition of football as the Bears are getting set to take on a very tough AFC Super Bowl contender in the Buffalo Bills. And once again, I am joined by Isaiah Frey. How you doing, Isaiah?
I'm good. How you doing?
Doing good. Doing a lot better. Obviously, the Chicago Bears have another tough test. Obviously, they're going from one Super Bowl contender to another. But I kind of want to get your opinions and your thoughts on the loss to the Philadelphia Eagles first.
It was a solid, I hate to say it this way, but it was a solid loss by them, right? They fought, man. They fought hard. We all know they're undermanned, but they went out there and competed, and it was a good game. That's kind of what we talked about last week, right? If they can go down and kind of just keep it close and have a chance at the end, and they did. They got them to 36 on that last play, and they just happened to complete a slant. But it was a good game by them, man. I was impressed by how they competed.
Yeah, obviously, the Bears weren't expected to win that game. But of course, you love to see them compete. And I think we said this in the last podcast, it's good to see your team compete, but still lose. I think you mentioned that would be the best case scenario for this situation that they're in right now. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, I think you could talk to 100% of Bears fans. They're worried about draft position right now, right? But you still don't want to get blown out in these games. And you just played a 12-1, 13-1 Eagles team and took them to the wire with all their starters playing, with guys that, you have receivers that are hurt and we've traded away guys. Like, that's a good look, man. That's a good look for the culture. So it's looking bright for them right now.
And that's obviously the worst part about these games is when you start losing people, right? Obviously, in this last game against the Eagles, we lost Jack Sanborn for the year, which is a huge loss. He was playing really good. Cool little story on Jack Sanborn. Obviously, he's an undrafted guy. And really took over that position, especially once they traded away Roquan Smith. Obviously, Tevin Jenkins got banged up. I believe Cody Whitehair got hurt. So that's the big thing for me. Can we end the season not only playing with a lot of confidence, but making sure our core guys are staying healthy? Meaning, can Justin Fields make it out of the season alive, right? That's the big one. But obviously, the Bears weren't supposed to win the game, but it's encouraging when you see these young guys playing well. You mentioned it before the podcast that you're really impressed with the young guys on the secondary and how they're playing right now.
Oh, definitely, man. I'm starting to love those guys, man. Kyler Gordon, man, he's doing some good things now, man. There's a lot of plays where you watch him, and aside from his interception and his fumble recovery, which were fantastic plays, but he's doing some things at the nickel spot, man, that you can see from week one now is night and day, and it's going to bode well for the future. He's looking very good, and his improvement, man, is impressive.
And you kept up the confidence, with Kyler Gordon too, saying, let's just, stick with him, which that's what you have to do when you're dealing with the rookie. And you said that you felt that they were putting him in too many different spots, but now you can feel like he's starting to come into his own and he's playing with a whole lot of confidence. So I'm excited for not only Kyler Gordon, but guys like Jack Sanborn and other young guys on our team as well as next year's come around. And obviously, Bears fans, I have to tell you this because, I have conversations with Isaiah before the podcast, and he said, you know what? I'm impressed with the secondary, but that D-line, it needs some work.
Yeah, they need some work, man. It's that's what makes what the secondary and linebackers are doing even that more impressive. D-line's not getting no pressure right now, and they're undermanned. We understand that, but to hold an Eagles team like that to 25 points with an undermanned D-line says a lot about who they're going to be. So they just have some holes to fix to fill, and then they'll be good.
Right. And Isaiah, I have to tell you this as well. Obviously we talk about him every week. Once again, another solid performance for Justin Fields, threw for 152 yards, was 14 for 21 passing, 2 touchdowns, no interception, added another 95 yards rushing. He is now the only third player in NFL history to rush for 1,000 yards in a season. It's just every single week, I become more and more impressed with Justin Fields.
Yeah, I very impressed, and almost a little. I understand the record. I was kind of upset that he didn't make the Pro Bowl. That was a little disappointing. Not on his end, obviously, but he should have. Regardless of the record, that has nothing to do with him. He's done what he's supposed to do. So, if you're gonna make that an actual award, man, give it to people that are actually supposed to be in the Pro Bowl, and he was one of those guys that should have.
So you're saying that Justin Fields got snubbed from the Pro Bowl this year?
100%. I know what they're looking at. Oh, they're 3-11, whatever the record is. But just look at his numbers, man. The numbers he's putting up are astronomical, man. You got to put him in there.
Isaiah, when they finally build around Justin Fields and he actually has like a AJ Brown to throw to, they will realize that he should have been in the Pro Bowl or even in the MVP conversations. Because I guarantee you, once he has Jalen Hurts type of guys around him or Josh Allen type of guys around him, right? Who they're throwing to, Stephon Diggs, AJ Brown, right? Devontae Smith. Trust me, Justin Fields is going to be very dangerous.
Oh yeah, 100%. He's going to be. This might be the last year he doesn't make the Pro Bowl. That's what it's looking like right now.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with you there. So obviously, Isaiah, we're going from playing one Super Bowl contender in the Philadelphia Eagles from the NFC, and now we're playing the AFC, hopefully Super Bowl contender in the Buffalo Bills. That's what a lot of people are saying. What's your initial reaction to this matchup against the Bills?
Same thing as last week, right? Go out there, compete, man. Not expecting you to win, but go out there and play hard, man, and keep it close to the end and see what happens. We all want them to not get blown out, and I don't think they will. I think they'll go out there and play hard. But like I said earlier, everybody's thinking about that draft position right now. So, like we said last week, man, a solid week would be playing hard, competing, but just losing at the end. You know what I mean? That's kind of where they're at right now.
And obviously watching your quarterback take another step, obviously at this point, I've seen enough from Justin Fields. We understand that he is the guy, but it's always good when Justin Fields can elevate his game against a very good opponent like a Buffalo Bills team. And obviously their defense is pretty good. And obviously that's without Von Miller. So it's going to be another tough test for Justin Fields. So I'm looking at Justin Fields to hopefully elevate his game to another level against a very good opponent in the Bills.
Yeah, it's a good test for him. Last week was a good test for him. He's accepting all these challenges and he's ringing the bell on all of them. So, like you said, man, it's going to be a good test, and we'll see how he does this week. And I'm confident that he's going to continue to do what he's done most of the season.
And obviously, Isaiah, when the schedule came out in the beginning of the year, I was like, man, what an early Christmas gift for the Chicago Bears playing the Buffalo Bills. I expected the Bills to be good, but I'm like, wow, you had to do us like that? You had to put them on Christmas Eve?
Yeah.
Obviously it's in Chicago, so that's good news. They'll be in Soldier Field. But obviously you look at the Bills, they're 11-3. They're Super Bowl contenders, one of the best in the AFC. They have Josh Allen. He's having another great year. Obviously they're trying to clinch the AFC East, and they're still eyeing the number one seed. So this Buffalo Bills team is going to come in with implications to try to win, right? They're not sitting their starters, but I like that. And obviously I think Eberflus and the players on the Bears are accepting this challenge. Because I think I mentioned this to you last week, that eventually you're going to be in situations where you have to win these games in December against good teams like the Buffalo Bills. So this is a good test for a young Bears team.
Definitely. This is what, these games are going to be like next year, right? When you're fighting, when you get into these games where you got to fight for the division and it's below zero and, you're out there, you're grinding it out, man. Those are grinded out wins. It's going to be very familiar for them when they come to it next year. So this is a good test to get them ready. And, when they have a game like this next year, man, they're going to know exactly what it needs to be, what they need to do to get the W. Right.
And this will definitely prepare them. So that's a good point that you brought up, especially in terms of next year when they're actually a lot better and competing, hopefully, for playoff spots. So, but Isaiah, the real thing I want to ask you, obviously you played in Chicago, and I'm not sure if you looked at the weather report, but it's supposed to be -17 wind chills. Can you give us your fondest memory of playing in a brisk, windy city, Soldier Field?
We played the Dallas Cowboys on either Sunday night or a Monday night. I can't remember, but it was a negative, I think it was a -8, and the wind chill took it to like a -15 or whatever. And I just remember being so cold that we there was a play they threw it to like Jason Witten, and I when I say I barely tapped him with my helmet, like I barely tapped him with my helmet, and it was so cold that the little headpiece I had on with my to cover my ears rubbed against my forehead, and it scabbed it up. Like I literally
Ooh.
I literally had like a whole like an open wound on my forehead from it just being frozen and him barely tapping him and it just breaking open. But that's how cold it gets, man. And then Chicago defense, I don't know if they still do it over there. The tradition was to wear no sleeves. So you're out there freezing. It's tough.
So you just sucked it up. So I'm not gonna wear no sleeves. I don't want to look like the punk of the team.
You couldn't. If you watch that game, actually, that game, I actually had one sleeve on, and they allowed me to wear one sleeve because there was like 4 or 5 games up that season. I broke my hand and I had a cast on, so I wanted to blend the cast in, so I didn't want them to know, you know. But yeah, that's a Chicago tradition. The defense never wears sleeves.
Okay, that's good to know. I did not know that, so that's good to know.
Yeah.
So do you not miss the cold then?
No, I don't miss it at all. I couldn't stand it. That was not my stilo. Even though I had it when I was in Reno, Nevada, but I don't miss it at all.
You know, it's funny when you watch the game and you see these guys, you know, with their shirts off, and you know they're freezing, but they try to act all hard that they're not cold at all. So it's always funny when you see that.
Right. I don't know. Yeah, that tough stuff, that tough guy acts played out. I'm freezing out there.
Yeah, you got to be honest with yourself, and put on a coat or put on some undersleeves under your jersey, right? So Isaiah, as we look at this game against the Bills, what are 3 keys to possibly a Bears upset win over the Bills?
Justin Fields plays lights out. That's automatic. They go as he goes. Defense has to contain the offense, kind of similar to how they did last week, man. If they play like they did last week, they'll have a shot at the end, and that's all they can ask for. And then third, and most importantly, when you have those money downs, man, you got to win them, right? There's usually about 6 or 7 plays in the game that are very important, and usually the ones that come out the most that on the winning side of that are going to win the game. So when those plays come up, those money downs, they got to win them.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously, I think, like I said, having a coach like Eberflus, right, and the expectation that he has in his players, they're going to be prepared. I don't expect the Chicago Bears to get blown out. I think they will probably end up losing once again. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to pick the Bears at the end of this podcast because that's what I do. I have confidence in my team. They're going to compete. I think the tough thing for Justin Fields now is that, once again, he's going to be without Darnell Mooney. Jace Claypool is doubtful. Equanimous St. Brown is out.
Oh, wow.
So the receiver room, that the people that he's throwing to now, is really limited. The good news for the Chicago Bears is that we get Khalil Herbert back this week. So I expect a heavy dose of running the football with not only Justin Fields, but David Montgomery and Khalil Herbert. And I think that should be enough to keep the Bears in the game. When it gets to the fourth quarter, we know what happens. They're young. They need to learn how to finish. But at the end of the day, I think the Chicago Bears will be ready to compete with the Buffalo Bills. And to me, that's always a cool thing to see, because I think when we start adding, we're right there.
Yeah, definitely. We're not far off. And like, you can go back in all these games this year. Like we talked about, I think, a couple podcasts ago. There was only one game I can remember when there was like, okay, they lost. Like, there was no way they're going to win that game.
Right.
The other game, you can make an argument that if some plays swung their way,
Absolutely.
they would have a shot to win the game. So, like, there's just a few pieces away, just a couple pieces away to take them over the top, man, and it's going to be good. Absolutely.
So, Isaiah, this is my favorite part of the podcast every single week. What is your score prediction for Saturday against the Bills?
I'm gonna go 30 to 24 Buffalo.
Okay, and you think the Bears are in it until around the late fourth?
Yeah, I think it's kind of similar to last week. I think they compete to the end. I think Buffalo just, they're a winning team. They know how to win, right?
Team, yeah.
Yeah,
they've been there, been in big spots, right?
Right.
And this is a game that the Bills also need.
Right.
But like I said, I think they did an article on Bleacher Report the other day saying which team is going to be, how did they word it? Which team is going to be the spoiler? And the Bears were one of the teams saying, you may not want to play the Bears, even though their record indicates that they're not good, which, okay, their record indicates they're not good, but they're not a bad team. if that makes sense. You know, they've played competitive football, and I think they mentioned in the article, as long as they have Justin Fields and the way that he's playing, which you expect Justin Fields to throw a couple touchdown passes, at least rushing for 75 plus yards a game, right? Maybe add a rushing touchdown. He's just a human highlight reel right now. And I think for me, and this is something that I wanted to add on this podcast, is that that's what's so cool about having a franchise guy. People are starting to realize that even though the Bears are 3-11, it's not because of Justin Fields. You know, obviously Darius Slay came out after the Eagles game and said everything that they said about Justin Fields is true. He is a human highlight reel. I'm not sure if you saw about what Von Miller said. I posted a podcast today basically saying Von Miller came out and said, Justin Fields has all the qualities to be one of the best to ever do it. He's not saying he's going to be. He's saying that he has all the qualities, and as long as Ryan Poles builds around him, Justin Fields will do great things for Chicago.
That's a future Hall of Famer saying that.
That's my point. And I don't carry those things lightly, Isaiah. You know what I mean? Like, I can see if LaShawn McCoy comes out and is bashing, he can't throw. There's no credibility there for me.
No,
you're talking about a guy in Von Miller that he's one of the best pass rushers in this generation. Right. He's a future Hall of Famer. He has played against really great quarterbacks in his career. So for him to say that, and you're like, you know what, Justin Fields is that guy. He has all the qualities to be one of the best to ever do it.
Oh yeah,
I carry that carries a lot of weight to me.
It does. Like he's played the game and has played it at an extremely high level. And for him to say that, man, that's one of the biggest compliments you can get as a quarterback. So, and I don't disagree with him. And we've been singing his praises since day one, man. I do not disagree with him, and he's only proved what we've already known since day one. And it's only better. Right.
And, you know, and this is probably a good time, Isaiah, to shout out all the Bears fans that have stuck through this team and stuck with Justin Fields, because that's what you're supposed to do as a fan. You're not supposed to give up on your quarterback. I didn't give up on Mitch Trubisky until they got rid of him. Right. That's what you're supposed to do as a fan. But I knew since day one that Justin Fields was going to be different. But shout out to all those Bears fans that stuck through. I tell you guys all the time, be patient, because trust me, once we're sitting in that NFC Championship game, we're going to look back at this moment and be like, man, we were just 3-11 2 years ago.
Right.
But now we're competing at the highest level, trying to bring a championship back to Chicago, because at the end of the day, Justin Fields has that capability to do that for Chicago.
And I think it's a good sign too that, you know, and this is kudos to Flus, man, that these guys are out there 3-11 and they're still busting their butt trying to win. Like, you can tell that's how you measure a coach right there, man, is when the record's bad and they have no shot of making the playoffs, but guys are still out there busting their butts to try to get the W. Because I can remember, because I was a part of it. I can remember being a part of a team where the record is so good, and in those last couple of games, we just get blown out because everybody was ready for the season to be over. So it's a good sign, man. That's good for Flus.
Yeah, and the one thing that I really want Bears fans to watch this week is that, like I mentioned earlier in the podcast, there's a lot of guys that are hurt, right? Jack Sanborn's out for the year. EQ's out. Claypool's out. I want you to watch the backups and how they play. These guys are preparing like they're the starters all along.
Right.
They are going to be prepared to play. And this is what I like. This is actually a good thing for Justin Fields. And I know people may be like, Keek, what are you talking about? It's a good thing that Justin Fields is missing his starters, because he's still playing great without his starters.
That's scary.
So just imagine, once again, when Ryan Poles gives him a true number one and his guys get healthy. I don't even know why I have to keep explaining myself, Isaiah. I really don't. Just watch the game.
Right. We don't have to say that. I think everybody knows. That's pretty obvious.
I think next week we shouldn't even say one word about Justin Fields.
Yeah.
I think we should, but it's hard because he's just that good.
Right.
You know? But I think next week it would be funny if we just came on here and you're like, you know what? It's nothing new.
Yeah, nothing new.
So, like I said, I'm excited for this game. Obviously, I didn't give my prediction because, you know, I'm bear down all the way. Even if they lose, it's still bear down every single day here on Keek on the Mic. But I know that you're a realist. That's why I like having you on.
Yeah.
So we can at least have one person going against the Bears. You never know. Maybe the Bears come out and give us an early Christmas gift.
You never know. You can make the argument that wouldn't be a Christmas gift. That would be some coal if they did win, honestly.
It would be fun, especially if it's Justin Fields at the forefront of helping them win, which that's the reason why they would win.
Yeah. It just would affect their draft position.
Yeah, so we'd probably come on here next week kind of bummed. Like, okay, we won, but now we're at number 4.
Yeah, right. So
now you have to pick and choose the moments, but I get why people want the Bears to lose, but you don't want to intentionally tank either. You want to compete as well. So
no. As a player and a coach, hell no, you don't want to do that. As us sitting on the side watching, we can secretly be like, okay, yeah, let's root for that.
Right, for sure. So Isaiah, once again, thank you so much for coming on. I hope you have a great Christmas with the family. Like always, I really appreciate you coming on every single week. I think it's been a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun podcasts coming up together. I know the offseason is going to be crazy, and I'm looking forward to keeping this collab going.
Definitely, man. Happy holidays to your newborn. I know it's the first one.
Yeah.
So happy holidays to you and your family, man. Happy holidays to everybody that's tuned in every week, man. Enjoy it. Blessed time to be with your family, man. So just have a great time and enjoy watching the Bears on Christmas Eve.
Appreciate that, Isaiah. Before I let you guys go, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the bell notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. Make sure you follow me on all my social media platforms. Make sure you share this episode of Kick on the Mic with every single Bears fan that you know. But other than that, we have for all new Bears podcasts right here on Kick on the Mic. Thanks, guys, and Merry Christmas.
Riding with country bears. You ain't bout it, you ain't kick on the mic. You ain't bout it, you ain't kick on the mic. You can go and